Hey guys, it's marianakebaso. In today's video, we're going to be going over all of my Netflix recommendations, both shows and movies. I don't have a lot because Netflix seems to love to remove a lot of my favorite shows and movies once they reach like a certain stage, which is like so terrible. Mainly movies. Netflix constantly removes and adds new movies. Some of my favorite movies on Netflix are no longer even there anymore, so you can watch them, illegally. Not that I'm condoning that in any way, shape, or form, but you can. It's an option, and you can. There's other streaming sites available as well. I was tempted to include some of my favorite shows that have moved to other platforms, but I decided to just keep it to Netflix, the shows that are there right now that you can watch. So without further ado, let's get into it. So to start off, I made a list to keep me on track and make sure I don't ramble too much about a show, knowing I have like 7 other ones to get through. So my favorite show on Netflix is Grey's Anatomy. If you haven't heard of Grey's Anatomy, where have you been? Where have you been, babe? Have you been living under a rock? Because Grey's Anatomy lives up to the hype. I started watching it probably when I was like 12, 13, and it was not all of the seasons were on Netflix at the time, but Netflix is pretty good about that now. They add this season usually in the spring. It's an amazing show if you love like drama, love triangles type thing, and also you like the medical aspect of shows, then you will love Grey's Anatomy. It is amazing. It's really good up until like season 11, and then after that it just kind of goes downhill, but Grey's is still an awesome show and I would recommend it to anyone. Next we have Sister Sister. So this is a show that was just recently added to Netflix. If you've been like hounding Netflix, you've seen it's been like one of the top shows in the United States for a bit because it's such a good show. It's from, I want to say it's from the 90s, but I think it's from the 2000s. I used to watch this show all the time when I was like in elementary school, and I'm so glad that it's now on Netflix. I've been binging it. I think I'm on season 2 or 3 now. I like watching it on the weekends or after school once I'm done with online school, which is awesome. So yeah, I highly recommend this show. It's so good. It's so good. Anyways, we have Greenleaf. I have mixed feelings about the show. A lot of people seem to like it, but I don't love the plot of the show. There's so many twists and turns, which like I get it. They want to make it a drama, but it just is unrealistic. Like so much is happening to the point where it's just like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I still watch it, like I watch it when I'm like folding my lunch or something, but it's not a show that I'm like, oh my god, I need to watch the next season or the next episode of the show. You know what I'm saying? Next we have Private Practice. Again, I have mixed feelings about this show because it's a spin-off of Grey's Anatomy with the character Addison Montgomery, and she's amazing. I love her character. Private Practice did not live up to the hype that I was getting from like people on TikTok saying Private Practice was like better than Grey's. I'm like, it's not. It's really not. Private Practice is great, but to be honest, it's not better than Grey's. And I don't like the couple sharing in the show, like how a friend would date this guy and then the friend's friend would date the same guy. Like that was just weird to me. I didn't love the show. I think I'm on like season 5 of it ish. I don't know, but I didn't love it. Moving on, we have Militia. This is another amazing show, which I'm pretty sure is from the 90s. I did not used to watch this, but it was recently added to Netflix probably about a month ago, if I'm not mistaken. And it's a really good show. I love the black girl main character. Where do we see the representation nowadays? We don't. We gotta go back to our 90s shows. But Militia's an amazing show. I have one like piece of critique for it. I just don't like how Militia was always like causing problems almost. I don't know. That's just my personal opinion. I just always felt like she was doing something wrong. She wasn't making the right decision, or she was just being a plain old brat, which, I mean, is just like any other teenage girl, which makes it kind of realistic, but I would have loved to see a teenage girl character who didn't act like the typical teenager. I don't know, maybe it's just me. I still enjoy the show, I still love watching it. That's just my only like thing about the show. So now we have Selling Sunset. If you guys have not been like on Twitter or Instagram or anywhere, where have you been if you haven't heard of Selling Sunset? It's a real estate show with like these luxury real estaters who sell houses to the millionaires in LA, and it's a pretty good show. The drama is giving me very much high school, giving me very much petty middle school drama. And it's entertaining, but like it's not a show that can really go like long term, because once the drama is over, it's like the show is done. Like once everybody's friends, what's the point of watching the show anymore? You know what I mean? But it's a good show. Super excited for the next season. Hopefully it will come soon. There's just a lot that needs to be addressed in season 4. I won't spoil anything for you, but just putting it out there, I really dislike Davina's character. Or not her character, herself, because they're not characters, it's their life. Next show we have is technically a kids show, but I actually really enjoy watching it, and I am very thoroughly looking forward to season 3 or 4 of the show. This is Carmen Sandiego. It's an animated like spy. It reminds me a lot of like Spy Kids from Disney, which is probably why I like it so much. It's just really entertaining. It's a cartoon type show, but it's like, I don't know, it just makes me feel like a kid, but I'm not a kid, but it's a kid's show, but it's good, if that makes sense at all. I really like it. I hope they renew it for another season, or they're in the process of making it. I would recommend it to you. It's just a fun show. The episodes are pretty short. They're like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. They're not even that long, but I love it. The next show we have is Dynasty. So this is a show with, what is her name? This show is awesome. I like it, but I don't like how he has a new wife every season. Like, could they make it at least a little bit more realistic? Because by the end of the show, he's literally had 4 wives, which is, I mean, I guess realistic for billionaires. But I just hated how the wives would exit the show every time. But anyways, I really like the first wife, Crystal, Crystal number 1. And it was just a good show. I like the drama, I like the plot. The next thing we have is Anne with an E. This is an amazing show. It's so sad, but they are not renewing it for another season. They decided to end it at the 2nd or the 3rd season. I don't know. I haven't watched it in a hot minute. But it's a good show. I highly recommend it, especially if you really liked the Anne of Green Gables books, which I loved in elementary school. So I think it was really cool to see like the books come to life. The characters and like the setting wasn't exactly how I managed it in my head, but it was just still kind of nice to see a book come to life. And it was decently accurate to the books, not really, but it's a good show nonetheless. Now we have Criminal Minds, which if you don't watch Criminal Minds, oh my gosh, who are you? Criminal Minds is an amazing show if you're really into like that murder, crime solving type thing, except you're a cab. Let me stop putting my political opinions on the internet. But Criminal Minds is an amazing show. It has a nice plot / format. Every episode is like a new like crime that they're solving, which technically is unrealistic because in reality the FBI does not solve a crime in a day. But it's a fun show to watch. I love the characters and I love just the overall vibe of the show. The last thing we have for shows is Family Reunion. If you guys haven't seen this, it's a pretty good show. It's surrounded by a Black family, which I love. We love to see Netflix giving us some representation. But it's an amazing show. It really shows a lot of factors that are real, but at the same time enjoyable to watch. Like, it's realistic to the point where you can relate to the characters and what they're going through, but it's also like fun to watch the characters, mess up, make mistakes, but also, have a life, if that makes sense. I don't know. would make sense to me. So it's a really good show. I highly recommend you watching it. It speaks on a few like modern day issues like police brutality and racism in America, which I think is awesome to know about, and I'm glad that they included it in the show instead of making it seem like, you know, a black family was perfect and never had to deal with any of that, when in reality that is false. You know what I'm saying? So I really like the show, and I would highly recommend it to anyone, white or black, or whatever race or ethnicity you are. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure you leave a like and comment down below. If you guys would like to see my movie recommendations, I would love to do a video. I've watched so many movies, it's honestly kind of bad, but I would love to do one. I don't know if you guys want to see one on like Netflix or on movies you can watch like legally, or like Hulu and Disney Plus and stuff like that. But let me guys know if you want to, let me know if you guys want to see a video like that or videos like that. And I would love for you to join my little family. And yeah, without further ado, I will see you guys on my Wednesday upload. Bye!